Hello, Kimiyoshi residence.
This is Sonozaki. So, did you find the mayor?
Oh, it's you, Mion-chan. We've been calling everyone, but no luck. We can't find him. I don't know who else to call. I wonder where he is.
Oh, I remember this. We also saw this scene in Watanagashi as well, but at that point, it just assumed it was Mion because there was no reason to assume it was Shion. Nice. I like how the answer arc does that. It makes it very obvious when Shion, starts to actually, show her yandere side. It's like, whoever hurts Satoshi-kun will pay with their lives, kind of kicked in. You knew that Shion was obviously, taking over from that point, but still, I like how it kind of all connects. What was the last line? Okay. I said, okay, close! We called a few places too, but nothing. I talked to Granny and she says we should have the youth group look for him.
At this time of day, besides, we aren't even sure if he's really missing.
It's right after Watanagashi. She just thinks we should be cautious. If the youth group can't find him, then we should call the police first thing in the morning. I'd rather not get the police involved unless we really have to, though.
Did Orio-san say that?
Yes, if you don't believe me, I'll have to get her on the phone.
Oh no, I understand. Okay, we'll gather the youth group and look for him. If they can't find him, we'll call the police in the morning.
Please call the leader of the youth group then. I'll be right over in Granny's place. I'll be right over.
Thank you. I'll get everyone together right away.
Okay, see you later. The youth group had gathered at the Fruita Shrine. They were going to try to find the mayor. I also had to go in the absence of the hag. Just to be mean, I stopped by the underground torture room to let the mayor know that I was headed to the Fruita Shrine to search for him. Incidentally, according to the tab on the keychain, this underground torture room was actually called the Underground Storehouse for Ritual Implements. This was the man who was yelling that whoever trespasses on the ritual storehouse should be killed. Although it was an underground ritual storehouse, he was there now, atoning for what he had done. It was pretty ironic. Maybe I was the only one who felt that way. I kind of forgot how the whole Kimiyoshi bit plays out. How are you doing, Uncle Kimiyoshi? Clink. Kimiyoshi didn't say a word, but he made a noise with the chain. Everyone is making such a fuss because they can't find you. The family called me, so I suggested they gather the youth group to look for you. I'm heading over there now. Was this mean or what? Kimiyoshi could only make noise with the chain. He couldn't even express any emotions other than anguish. Is the chain too short? Why don't I make it longer, every time you give me an answer to a question? If it's even a little longer, you'll feel better. Kimiyoshi's hands were tied behind his back with a tight wire. He was wearing a leather collar with a chain which was strapped tightly around his neck too. The collar's chain was on a pulley attached to the ceiling with the chain pulling him up towards it. The chain was very short and pulled very tight. Kimiyoshi had to stand on tiptoes to be able to breathe. He'd been like that for almost an hour already. And he's old as well. So he got zapped with a really powerful stun gun and now he's chained up that way. I would say that's not good for his health, but that's not good for anyone's health. He was already exhausted. If I left him overnight, he'd probably end up hanging himself. You told me earlier that you didn't know. I'll ask you one more time. Please tell me anything you know about Satoshi Hojoku. Oh, sorry. You can't even talk, can you? I'll loosen the chain a little while we chat then. I turned the pulley just a little to loosen the chain that was pulling on Kimiyoshi's neck. I wonder if Kimiyoshi is aware that Mion is being held captive down there as well. Kimiyoshi's heels finally touched the ground, relieving the pressure on his muscles.
I really don't know, Shion-chan. I really don't.
Don't you even know if he's dead or alive?
I really don't know anything.
Well, I guess that's how the curse system of Henbizawa works. It's possible you really don't know anything. Okay, then I'll change the question. As the head of the Kimiyoshi family, I'd like you to tell me what you think has happened to Satoshi-kun. Is Satoshi-kun dead or alive? Kimiyoshi didn't know what to say. If he said he didn't know, I'd tighten the chain and leave the room. That would be like a death sentence for him. But all I said was that I wanted him to speak as the head of the Kimiyoshi family. I didn't ask him to tell the truth. But he didn't know what to say to avoid souring my mood and to get me to loosen the chains around him. He was obviously trying to figure out how to make me extend the chains.
I've heard a rumor that he may be alive.
How about him going to Tokyo on a bullet train ride?
The police. I've seen him in Tokyo, or something like that.
Wish you had told me that Satoshi-kun had been witnessed getting on a bullet train heading to Tokyo at Nagoya Station. But the police didn't know if that was really happened, or what became of Satoshi-kun after that. Therefore, this was simply a random assertion of Kimiyoshi's. Hey, head of the Kimiyoshi family. What would be the point of letting one of the cursed family members live after going through the trouble of making him disappear? I don't think there's any reason for that. Besides, who gave you this information? I was in close contact with Oishi for a while, but he never mentioned it to me. Uncle, if you're just saying that to make me happy, it's not going to work. You know that, don't you? I reached for the pulley control and the chains around Kimiyoshi, and that act alone sent him panicking as he feared them tightening once more.
Sorry, I'm not trying to make you angry, Shion. I'm sorry.
I don't have time for this. I'm simply asking you to help me look for Satoshi-kun, that's all.
I know that. I'll answer you.
I took my hand off the pulley. Seeing that Kimiyoshi began making loud groaning noises to try and show he was thinking hard. Be frank with me. Do you think he is alive or dead?
I think you shouldn't think he is alive.
That figures. There's no point in letting him live, right? I agree with you. I really didn't mean anything too deep by it, but what I said truly scared Kimiyoshi. The police think you ran using the money he saved to buy Satoga's birthday present, because he was the main suspect of his aunt's murder. What do you think about that?
Well, I heard that the culprit was some kind of drug addict.
What do you think about that? Maybe I shouldn't say this, but I believe Satoshi-kun is the culprit. The drug addict was probably a decoy the hag arranged.
I have suspected as much. A guy appeared out of nowhere. I didn't understand it at the time.
So he was a decoy?
I'm pretty sure.
Why do you think that, though?
The police were investigating the case and Satoshi-kun was their primary suspect, wasn't he? If he was going to be deemed away, she didn't want the police to continue the investigation, I guess.
What Kimiyoshi just said is very interesting. He's perfectly correct. If the police continued their investigation, it would complicate things for whoever deemed away Satoshi-kun. Therefore, the hag came up with a decoy in order to bring an end to the investigation. But fabricating a suspect can't be that easy. Don't you agree?
The only person who can do things like that is Oryo-san.
I knew the hag was very powerful in the underside of Inamizawa, but I never knew she was that powerful.
I'm sure you've heard quite a few rumors during the dam conflicts. Didn't you also hear things directly?
During the dam protests, I actually saw them issuing orders to my relatives, like destroy their heavy machinery, or can we set up a checkpoint to blockade their construction vehicles. They set free their comrades from the police by coming up with alibis, destroying or forging evidence. I'd seen relatives do those things, as well as the hag calling in counselors to the house to protest. As a child, I was pretty impressed, but then I thought back, it was more than that. She was truly the mastermind who controlled the underside of the world. Who's speaking now? Okay, that might be Kimiyoshi.
You've heard about the kidnapping case of the grandson of the Minister of Construction, right?
So it was really kidnapping, huh? Where the grandson was deemed away and then found in the middle of the mountains in Tuxedo, Yogoichi.
That was at Oryo-san's command. The minister promised to stop the dam construction and the grandson was released. All the top people in the ex-Guardians know that.
I guess I was right in the middle of it when it was happening, but I didn't notice. The hag, the three families, and the ex-guardians are truly magnificent, huh? How terrifying. We learned all about that case in the fourth quest in Arc. Kimiyoshi finally realized the situation he was in, and he was answering my questions. That made me happy, but the more Kimiyoshi told me the truth, the more I realized Satoshi-kun really was dead. That made me very sad. Who actually deemed away Satoshi-kun?
I don't know. We were never to ask who actually executed Orya-san's orders.
He was right. That was how the system worked, and so that was a bad question. Whoever it was did a great job, because his body hasn't been found. That's not easy.
When you decide who actually killed him, it is possible Orya-san helped to get rid of the body. You know about the well further down from here? The one used to dump bodies, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It's a lot safer to dump a body in the well than to bury it somewhere in the mountains. If this appears, it becomes a sacrifice to calm the anger of Oyashiro-sama. That was the rule of this game. Therefore, the bodies must never be discovered. That's why the bodies had to be dumped somewhere nobody could find them. It's very possible that the well was used for that. Then Satoshi-kun is at the bottom of that well. I grabbed a flashlight and headed to the huge cage with all the cells. As I turned on the lights in the cave, Mion noticed me and gave me a worried look. I ignored her and headed to the cell in the back. I was still very impressed by how the well was hidden. It was almost artistic. I shone the flashlight at the bottom of the well. I had no way of knowing how deep the well was. The light of the flashlight wasn't strong enough to reach the bottom. I inhaled, then screamed into the well. Satoshi-kun! Satoshi-kun! Satoshi-kun's name echoed again and again. It was obviously a very deep well. I thought of climbing down using the wedges on the wall, but with a flashlight hanging from my neck, I couldn't light my footing properly. But even if there was enough lighting, I didn't even know if the wedges were sturdy enough. It would be like committing suicide. Satoshi-kun was at the bottom of this well. That's when I felt it. A warm hand rubbed my head, for sure. Shion, you finally found me. Satoshi-kun, Satoshi-kun, Satoshi-kun! I've been looking for you for so long! I'm sorry I couldn't find you while you were still alive. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, Shion. It's just that you've gone batshit insane. There was nothing you could have done before I was killed. But you did everything you could do after I was dead. Satoshi-kun, I want to join you. I'm doing it right now. I'm going to Joseph. Please catch me. Satoshi-kun smiled bitterly. I was saddened to see him reject me. Shion, I'm happy that you found me, but you're alive, Shion. It's so important to be alive. You can't waste it. Roger, I don't want to live. I want to be with you, Satoshi-kun. I want to be close to you. I want to spend time with the wild me. I want to be with you. Live. Do I have to? I'll even enjoy your life, okay? What's so fun about living alone? You'll find out, so long as you're alive. I'm totally ruined in the scene. Live I will. Live I will. Live. The airy well now felt warm. I wasn't allowed to go down to the bottom, but the edge of this well was the place where you and I could meet. Yeah, Shion's gone completely bonkers. I mean, that happened quite a while back, really, isn't it? She's like the well, really. She's just sinking deeper and deeper into madness. Mion, Satoshi-kun, I found him. He's at the bottom of the well, isn't he? I think so. I can't think of anywhere else he'd be. Mion started to sob. You weren't there when Satoshi-kun was killed, were you? No. If you were there, would you have begged the hag to forgive him? Yes, I would have begged him to... begged her to let him live. Liar! Eh? You liar! On that day a year ago, I just recalled how cruel Mion was then when she forced me to rip out my nails, acting in her role as the successor. Even if she was there when Satoshi-kun was killed, she wouldn't have stopped being the successor. Satoshi-kun is brought to the torture room. When he saw Mion, I'm sure he thought she would save him. Wait, what? Ah, wrong one. Satoshi-kun was brought to the torture room. When he saw Mion, I'm sure he thought she would... Okay. I might have read it wrong. Even as he heard the family head reach out his death sentence, I'm sure he looked at Mion and believed that she would save him. He believed Mion was acting that way only because she was with her relatives. He believed she would help him, but she didn't do anything. He was strapped to a restraining device, yet she still wouldn't do anything. Mion was cruel. Mion, isn't it about time to help me? I see, I get it. You're with the rest of the family members so you can't show even a hint of compassion. That sucks. Help him! Help him! Why? Why didn't you help him? You saw him looking at you begging to help you, didn't you? Why didn't you help him? Even when he was going through a rough time because of his awful heart, you didn't help him. And it's like 7 in the morning, so I really shouldn't be shouting. You pretended to sympathize, but you didn't help him. You ignored him. He was caught because you didn't help him. I tried to support him. Even when you didn't protect him from killing his aunt, I did. I sacrificed myself to fight for him. 3 nails with nothing. But it wasn't enough to rescue Satoshi-kun. I couldn't help him. You know why? Because I was Shion then. As Shion, I was kept away from him. He was out and nobody told me anything. I couldn't know anything. But you were different. You were Mion. You were right in the middle of everything, and you knew everything, and everyone told you everything. If I were you, I could have helped Satoshi-kun. I would have. But you were Mion. Give it back, Mion. That name isn't yours. It's mine, too. Besides, it was mine to begin with, remember? I just let you be Mion, remember? It was mine. Give it back to me. Give me back my name. Give me my name back. I can't stand that you even look like Mion. If I were Mion, then... I kicked the bars. I kicked them again and again. Mion curled up fearfully in the back of the cell, as if she were trying to prevent the bars from crashing down onto her. Shion has lost her marbles. Notice in that whole scene there, she didn't once think or mention, notebook tips. Didn't once mention, the fact that Mion went through it as well. Human luck, tying your own noose. I mean, Mion also did the whole nails thing. She's completely forgotten about that. She's gone off the deep end. After that, I joined the youth group in search for Kimiyoshi. It's like, no, we can't be asked to include it in the main part, so we're going to put it in as a tip instead. I went down the town council's phone directory and called to see if he had visited, and then had the group split according to the circular notice divisions and sent them to search the town. Everybody seemed to be assuming they wouldn't find him, but since I knew they definitely never would, it was just bothersome to me. Even after midnight, they were all still enthusiastically looking for him. I bore the sleepiness while yawning. Then I heard somebody whisper, "Last year we did the same thing when Satoshi Hojo-kun went missing." The youth group was looking for someone who would never be found, just like last year. Well, if it's a youth group, does that mean they're, actually the younger people of the village, like probably in their 20s and shit like that, 30s? So why am I giving it an old guy voice? Because I don't know who these characters are. I was yawning because I knew this. Last year there must have been some people who were yawning and grinning on the inside. Did I read the previous line? Will be found just like last year. When did we stop searching last year? Do you remember? When Satoshi Hojo-kun was missing. Oh, what time was it? Yes, that was around midnight. It was already 2 in the morning. Though they spent as much time searching for Kimiyoshi, they didn't do the same when Satoshi went missing. After all, some people knew they wouldn't find him. They must have been sleepy. They must have said they should leave it to the police. Shit, I want to kill the people who said that! That's kind of, well, she hasn't technically killed anyone, really, has she? I mean, her aunt, wait, no, not her aunt, I mean, her grandmother, but that was partially unintentional, although she did have intentions at the same time. I mean, think, if the grandmother didn't, if Oreo didn't die, before she could question her, how different would things have been, potentially? I mean, shit would have probably still hit the fan. Well, shit hit the fan at that point in time, really, didn't it?
What? Michan, you didn't get much sleep either, did you? Did you?
Yeah, I went to bed at like 3. I'm a little tired. I woke up around about that time. 3? Hey now, you can't keep staying up late. You probably read the first volume of a manga, thought it was interesting, then read the entire series, didn't you? I understand, I've done that before.
What? Wait, is it about the mayor? He still hasn't been found.
No. I went to the Friedrich trying to join the youth group in their search for the mayor. Since I knew there was no way he would be found, it was really boring for me. Well, just enduring sleepiness wasn't that bad. Well, if you consider what Kimiyoshi had to go through since last night, he had been hanging from the ceiling and couldn't even fall asleep or sit down, since he had to stay on tiptoes the whole time. The teacher explained to us that the mayor had gone missing and asked us if we knew anything. A couple of people said some things, but they were irrelevant. To me, this issue meant nothing, but it was all my classmates were talking about. I observed Kiichiro Maibara. I had no idea if any type of danger was drawing close to him. Maybe I'd call him again tonight to pretend to be Shion. Yeah, it's the next call, if I recall, where shit really starts to, hit the fan when Shion starts to, pretty much show her true colors a bit over the phone. Because I can't remember what it was, but Keiichi's questioning eventually gets her to be like, well, shit, or something. I can't really remember. Or maybe she was probably mocking him. We'll soon see when we get to that. Maybe it would pretend to be Shion. I told him some outrageous stuff last night, so he panicked. I was sure he'd calm down after a day.